The illusion of freedom. How pleasure became the perfect prison. Do you think you're really free? Think about it for a second. You wake up and what's the first thing you do? You grab your phone. You start scrolling, looking for something new, something to grab your attention, to distract you from that tiny flicker of emptiness that comes with waking up. Maybe you pour a cup of coffee, scroll a little more, play a song, or watch a short video while you sip. It feels normal, right? A little dopamine to start the day. Then you head to work or school, earbuds in, consuming more, a podcast here, a stream of notifications there. By the time you finally get a moment of silence, what happens? A strange discomfort shows up. A restlessness. An emptiness. You can't stand it, so you reach for your phone again. Another distraction. Another dose of pleasure. But the problem isn't pleasure itself. Pleasure is natural. It's part of how we survive. It's our mind's way of rewarding us for doing things that help us live. The danger comes when pleasure turns into the prison. When the constant need to feel good makes us slaves to the next dopamine hit, the next scroll, the next video, the next little spark of validation. Aldous Huxley saw this coming nearly 100 years ago. While George Orwell warned us of a world ruled by fear and force in 1984, Huxley painted an even darker vision in Brave New World, a world where people wouldn't need to be forced to obey, because they'd be too entertained to even think about rebelling. A world where people would love their servitude. Now, look around you. What do you see? A society obsessed with entertainment. Endless distractions. People chasing comfort, chasing happiness, chasing the next feel-good moment, but never finding peace. The question is, what's the cost of all this? Is this obsession with instant pleasure actually setting you free? Or is it quietly trapping you? In this video, we're diving into how modern society uses pleasure as a tool of control, and how this addiction to instant gratification might be turning you into something you never meant to become. A voluntary slave, because the perfect slavery doesn't need chains. It doesn't need guards or prisons. It only needs one thing: pleasure. When pleasure becomes the center of your life, servitude starts to look like freedom. And that's exactly what Huxley warned us about. Imagine a world where people never question anything because they're too entertained to care. Where the search for meaning is replaced by an endless feed of distractions. Where pleasure isn't a choice, it's a constant requirement. In Brave New World, Huxley created a society where people are conditioned from birth to avoid discomfort. Whenever they feel sadness, anxiety, or existential doubt, they take a drug called soma, the perfect drug. No side effects, no hangovers, just pure, numbing happiness. But is that really fiction? Think about your own life. Whenever you feel bored, anxious, or sad, what do? Do you sit with that feeling? Do you try to understand it? Or do you instantly reach for a distraction, scrolling social media, binge watching something, ordering food, swiping on dating apps, or playing games? We live in the era of instant gratification, an age where any uncomfortable feeling can be silenced with a tap on a screen. We don't have soma, but we have its modern equivalents: TikTok, Instagram, Netflix, YouTube, and all the tiny digital doses of dopamine we consume without thinking. And the most dangerous part? It all feels like our choice. No one's forcing us to scroll. No one's ordering us to binge watch. No one's pointing a gun to our heads and saying, "Keep consuming." So why can't we stop? The answer is simple: conditioning. From the moment we're born, we're trained to avoid discomfort. We grow up in systems that value obedience over thought, productivity over reflection, entertainment over awareness. We're not taught to think deeply. We're taught to keep going, to stay busy, to keep consuming. The result? A society where people aren't controlled by fear, but by comfort. In Brave New World, people were conditioned from childhood with hypnopedia, messages whispered to them in their sleep to shape their beliefs. Everyone belongs to everyone. A gram of soma solves everything. These ideas were etched into their subconscious so deeply that they never even thought to question them. Sound familiar? Our version of hypnopedia isn't a voice whispering in our sleep. It's the constant buzz of notifications, the endless stream of ads, and the perfectly designed algorithms that know exactly what to show us next. Every time your phone pings, your brain gets a microdose of dopamine. Every time you scroll and see something new, you feel rewarded, without effort, without thinking. And every time you get a like, a comment, or a quick laugh, the system quietly reinforces the pattern. Before long, your brain learns that pleasure, not meaning, not purpose, is the goal. You stop thinking for yourself. You stop questioning. And without realizing it, you become exactly what Huxley warned about: a happy servant, enslaved not by pain, but by pleasure. And that's the trick. It's not that people don't want to think. It's that they've been conditioned not to need to. The scary part is how normal it feels, because when comfort is constant, silence feels threatening. When every empty moment can be filled instantly, stillness feels unbearable. And when life becomes a search for constant stimulation, your mind forgets how to be alone with itself. This is the real cost of the pleasure trap, the quiet erosion of your ability to think, reflect, and feel deeply. And it's not just personal, it's collective. A society built on instant gratification becomes weaker over time. When people can't tolerate discomfort, they become easier to manipulate. When people are too distracted to think critically, they stop noticing who's benefiting from their distraction. No dictatorship is needed to control people who no longer value freedom because they've traded it for comfort. And this brings us to the next step in the cycle, the illusion of happiness. What happens when a society that worships pleasure finally gets what it wants? Constant entertainment, constant stimulation, a life free from pain. It sounds like paradise, but it's not. It's the beginning of decay, because a life without discomfort isn't peace, it's paralysis. In the next part, we'll go deeper into how avoiding pain actually destroys our strength, and why the modern obsession with feeling good might be the very thing that's making us weaker, lonelier, and easier to control. If this resonates with you, stay with me, because once you see the cage, you can start finding the way out. The fragile mind. How escaping pain makes us weak. Now imagine this: a world where no one ever suffers. No sadness, no frustration, no anxiety. Every unpleasant feeling instantly erased. Sounds perfect, right? But look closer. What happens to someone who never struggles? What happens to a society that's been programmed to avoid discomfort at all costs? It becomes fragile. Aldous Huxley saw this danger with terrifying clarity. In Brave New World, the people lived in a state of constant pleasure. Their happiness was guaranteed by soma, a drug with no hangovers, no side effects, just endless calm and bliss. Whenever pain or doubt appeared, they simply swallowed a pill and floated back into comfort. But this wasn't true happiness. It was sedation. Because if you never face pain, you never build strength. If you never sit with discomfort, you never develop depth. And that's exactly what we see today, not through drugs, but through digital anesthesia. We don't need soma because we already have our substitutes. Social media that gives instant validation, dating apps that remove the fear of rejection, entertainment algorithms that predict our desires before we even feel them. Every corner of our lives is designed to shield us from discomfort. You don't have to be bored. You don't have to think. You don't even have to feel. The system will take care of that for you. But there's a price, and that price is your strength. Pain has a purpose. Frustration teaches patience. Sadness teaches empathy. Struggle forces growth. When you remove all of that, what's left? A shell, comfortable, entertained, and hollow. That's the paradox of the modern world. We have everything we want, yet we've never felt emptier. We live surrounded by comfort, soft beds, endless screens, instant access to pleasure, yet our minds are restless, anxious, and constantly seeking more. Because pleasure was never meant to replace purpose. It was only meant to reward it. But today, pleasure has become the goal itself. And that shift has changed everything. Look around. You'll notice how fragile people have become. A small failure feels unbearable. A bit of criticism feels like an attack. A moment of silence feels like drowning. We've been conditioned to run from anything that hurts, as if pain were the enemy. But pain isn't the enemy. Pain is the teacher. Think about your own life. When did you grow the most? When everything was easy, or when things got difficult? Every meaningful transformation, every bit of maturity, resilience, or self-awareness comes from facing discomfort, not avoiding it. Yet our society sells us the opposite. It promises a life without effort, fast success, easy pleasure, quick fixes. But every shortcut comes with a hidden cost: your strength, your patience, your self-control. The more we avoid pain, the weaker we become. The weaker we become, the more we seek comfort. And the more we seek comfort, the easier we are to control. That's the loop, the endless circle of manufactured happiness. A society full of strong, independent thinkers who can endure discomfort will never be easy to manipulate. But a society of emotionally fragile consumers who can't sit still, who need distraction, who panic at silence, that's the dream of every system built on control. You don't need force to rule such a society. You just need to keep it comfortable. And that's the terrifying genius of Huxley's vision. He didn't imagine a world ruled by fear, but a world ruled by pleasure, where people would gladly give up their freedom in exchange for comfort. And that's exactly where we are now. Look at our habits. We celebrate convenience. We glorify ease. We worship the idea that everything should happen instantly: success, love, happiness, validation. But the truth is, nothing meaningful comes instantly. Every deep connection, every worthwhile achievement, every piece of real growth takes time and often pain. Yet the system we live in trains us to expect the opposite. We are sold the fantasy that happiness can be downloaded, streamed, or delivered in 24 hours. But here's the truth. You can't outsource fulfillment. You can't scroll your way into meaning. And every time you choose the easy pleasure over the difficult path, you reinforce the cage, the invisible prison made of comfort. We are, as Huxley warned, prisoners who have learned to love their servitude. The scariest part is that this conditioning doesn't look evil. It looks beautiful. It looks fun. It feels good. That's why it works. But once you start to notice it, something changes inside you. You begin to see that this constant need for stimulation isn't freedom, it's dependency. You begin to realize that this happiness everyone's chasing is just another form of control. Because when people lose the ability to tolerate silence, they lose the ability to think. When they lose the ability to think, they stop questioning. And when they stop questioning, the system doesn't need chains. It has already won. But this doesn't mean the situation is hopeless. There is a way out. It's not quick. It's not easy. But it's real. The first step is to understand the difference between pleasure and purpose. Pleasure is temporary. It disappears the moment the stimulus ends. Purpose is lasting. It builds you, strengthens you, and gives your life meaning even when things get hard. And the world will never encourage you to find purpose, because a person with purpose can't be controlled. A person with purpose doesn't need constant distraction. They don't crave the next dopamine hit. They don't buy into every trend or algorithm. That's why the world keeps you busy chasing pleasure, so you never have time to find purpose. But here's the paradox. The more you chase pleasure, the emptier you feel. The more you pursue purpose, the more fulfilled you become, because purpose asks you to build something real. Pleasure only asks you to consume. And every time you choose consumption over creation, you surrender a little bit more of your power. It's not about rejecting pleasure entirely. It's about remembering that pleasure is supposed to serve your purpose, not replace it. If you want to regain control of your mind, you have to reclaim your relationship with discomfort. You have to see pain not as punishment, but as potential. The goal isn't to escape suffering, it's to learn from it. Because the person who can sit with their pain without running from it, that's the person who's truly free. In the next part, we'll explore how to escape this cycle completely, how to reprogram your brain, rebuild your strength, and rediscover your purpose in a world that profits from your distraction. Because freedom isn't found in pleasure, it's found in awareness. Breaking the cycle, reclaiming your mind in a world of distractions. Now that you understand how this addiction to pleasure quietly controls you, there's one final question left. How do you break free? How do you regain control of your own mind in a world designed to keep you distracted, comfortable, and dependent? Let's be honest, this isn't an easy battle. The system doesn't want you to wake up. It wants you scrolling, consuming, chasing one small hit of dopamine after another. It wants your time, your attention, your focus, because those are the real currencies of the modern world. But freedom begins with awareness. The moment you start seeing the game for what it is, you've already taken the first step outside the cage. And the first strategy for escaping, it is strategic deprivation of pleasure. That doesn't mean you have to reject all forms of enjoyment or live like a monk. It means learning to control pleasure instead of letting pleasure control you. Start small. Take breaks from the things that keep you hooked: social media, constant entertainment, junk food, mindless scrolling. When you do this, something interesting happens. Your brain begins to reset. At first, you'll feel restless. You'll crave stimulation. You'll want to fill the silence again. That's your conditioning fighting back. But if you stay with it, if you resist the urge, you'll start to notice that life feels clearer. Simple things start to feel satisfying again. Your attention sharpens. Your mind calms down. The second step is rebuilding your tolerance for discomfort, silence, boredom, waiting, frustration. These are not your enemies, they're your training ground. Sit with them. Feel the unease without trying to run. Go for a walk without music. Eat without scrolling. Spend time with your own thoughts, even if they're messy. At first, it'll feel uncomfortable, even painful. But that pain is growth. It's your mind relearning how to exist without constant stimulation. Because the truth is, discomfort doesn't destroy you, it strengthens you. The third step is critical questioning. Ask yourself, why do I need to distract myself all the time? Who benefits from my addiction to pleasure? What could I build, or who could I become, if I wasn't constantly chasing the next quick hit of dopamine? The more you question, the clearer you'll see. You'll begin to realize that much of what you desire, the trends you follow, the content you consume, even the way you define happiness, isn't truly yours. It's been programmed into you by systems that profit from your attention. And once you see that, you gain something priceless. Choice. Because awareness gives you the power to choose differently. The fourth and most important step is replacing pleasure with purpose. Pleasure fades. Purpose endures. Pleasure is something you consume. Purpose is something you build. Ask yourself the questions that truly matter. What gives my life meaning? What do I want to create? What kind of person do I want to become? These are difficult questions, but they're the ones that actually lead to freedom. Because when you have a purpose, you no longer need constant distraction. You no longer feel lost when the screen goes dark. You don't need to chase validation, because you're already rooted in something real. And that's what makes purpose so powerful. It gives you stability in a world designed to keep you spinning. But here's something no one tells you. Once you start breaking free, people around you will notice. When you stop living the way everyone else does, some people will admire you. Others will feel threatened. Because your change becomes a mirror. It reflects what others don't want to see in themselves. Some will support your growth. Others will try to pull you back, not because they hate you, but because your freedom exposes their own chains. And that's the final test. Real freedom often comes with solitude. When you stop distracting yourself, you start to see clearly, and not everyone wants to see the truth. But that's okay. Because once you've tasted real awareness, you can't go back. You begin to notice how people use distraction to avoid their emotions. How they confuse comfort for happiness. How they fear silence because silence makes them confront who they really are. You begin to realize that the cage was never outside. It was built inside your mind. And once you see it, you can dismantle it piece by piece. You do it by saying no to the constant noise. By choosing to think when others just consume. By facing your pain instead of numbing it. By building a purpose that gives meaning to your existence. Because pleasure without purpose is just another form of slavery. The world will tell you to keep consuming. Keep scrolling, keep chasing. Because that's what keeps it running. But you don't have to participate in that game. You can step back. You can question. You can live differently. Freedom doesn't mean rejecting pleasure. It means mastering it. It means using pleasure as a tool, not letting it use you. It means accepting discomfort as part of life. Because discomfort is where growth begins. It means thinking for yourself, not because someone told you to, but because you've chosen to wake up. So the real question is this: now that you see the trap, what will you do with this awareness? Will you go back to the endless cycle, scrolling, consuming, numbing, knowing exactly what it's doing to you? Or will you choose to take your mind back? Because the truth is, freedom has always been yours. It's just been buried under layers of distraction. And when you finally reclaim it, when you choose purpose over pleasure, silence over noise, truth over comfort, that's when you become truly dangerous to a system built on control. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop being entertained and start being awake? Because once you begin questioning, once you start thinking for yourself, there's no going back. And maybe that's what real freedom is, not the absence of suffering, not the constant chase for happiness, but the courage to face reality without running from it. If this message resonated with you, share it. Start the conversation. Because the more people begin to see the illusion, the weaker the system becomes. Remember, pleasure is not the enemy. Ignorance is. The world doesn't need more distractions. It needs more thinkers. More people brave enough to feel discomfort, to face truth, to live with intention. So slow down. Be still. Think deeply. And in that silence, you'll find something the modern world has tried to take from you, yourself.